Were Barcelona robbed versus Sociedad? It's a very serious question. A lot of things circulate around in the media, including Hansi Flick obviously having a problem with the referee and vocally just really getting into it. And I've just got to say, mate, everything about this match. And I'm going to be live for about 15 minutes because I was really frustrated. I'm going to tell you why. Yeah? That I don't think the accountability is there. And I know Barcelona, their position in La Liga and how obviously they're trying to maintain it. And yes, maybe you'll be critical of some decisions in the game. Yes, maybe the referee will have an issue, obviously, with a lot of players. And if it happens during a game where it's so crucial for you to maintain a lead, a 4-point gap ahead of Real Madrid, then so be it. You can vocalize it. However, the main ending to that is that Sociedad won the game. And it's a result that sparked huge outrage, guys. It's a result that sparked huge outrage. They won the game. Not convincingly. They took their chances. So why is there this whole mentality behind a lot of the whole media around it is rob this, rob that, robbery this, robbery that, VAR this, VAR that, instead of looking at the main picture. And the main picture was the whole match. It was the whole match from 0 to 90 minutes. Yeah? Let's run through this because there were disallowed goals. I understand. Both of them. Let me just go through the main two disallowed goals. Yeah? And the first one that took place where Fermin Lopez shot outside the box. A great finish, by the way. Excellent finish. Driving into space, shooting it past Romero. And that should have been literally the lead for Barcelona. However, when you look at the replay and people saying it was a soft touch on Kubo, whatever, this is an action that misplaced the ball from Kubo's feet by physical force on his foot itself, and it led to retaining possession from Olmo into Fermin Lopez's feet that allowed him to get the shot away. Now, let me just put it into perspective. If this is any other team, and you looked at it just through the lens, a glass lens, you're saying that is not a goal. Because the action before that allowed that to happen. Now, the second goal, the offside trap from Barcelona, from Sociedad, essentially, with Yamal and Koundé getting caught up in that whole fiasco. That in itself was offside by the tiniest margin. Now, in my eyes, when I was looking at on the actual match cams and from the top-down cams, when you're looking at it on paper, it looked like that Yamal was offside. From my angle, it looks like Yamal was offside. Obviously, the lines need to be drawn. He was offside by this match. Now, I've got to be honest, yeah? I'm kind of mixed emotions about this because I don't agree with offside rulings to be that close. But Mbappe's had them before, and it's been ruled offside. Many teams in European football have had that before, where it's literally just the tiniest margins, and it's ruled offside. So, this whole situation, yeah, came from two disallowed goals, obviously being disallowed, and now, obviously, the media have a problem with it, Barcelona have a problem with it, and look, if it's Madrid on the other side, then I would definitely say maybe those could be counted and could be factored into the equation. However, I've got to say something here, yeah, that the VAR on the offsides, both of them, were, if you look at it on paper, factually correct. They were both factually correct. So they cannot be discounted. At the end of the day, I think the referee did a decent job to manage the expectations of the players. And this is the whole situation. And I've got to look at facts here. I've got to look at pictures and facts and videos that show me factual evidence. And at the end of the day, the factual evidence is that Barcelona were factually called those goals not goals. It was factually correct. So at the end of the day, this is where I stand. You may be thinking, this is a Real Madrid fan speaking. No. This is just completely blinkers and saying that match, I do not believe in those goals should have been allowed. Both of them. Yeah? People saying it's a robbery. It was not a robbery. Sociedad took their chances. Barcelona didn't. Now, let's get into that because I've got a whole section on this. The players, the reaction of the players, the reaction of the coaches, what's happening. Okay. Olmo, as a player. Rightfully in the live chat, tell me out of 10, how did you rate Olmo's performance? Because do you know what I'll give him? A fat 0. Do you know why? Because the situation is that he had opportunities to tuck away Sociedad before they even had a chance to score. The whole first half was literally Olmo trying to work himself into positions, which he did successfully, but missed chances that should be scored by a player of his caliber. Let's be honest. 0. A fat 0. So, if Barcelona fans, you're saying this in the chat, in that game you put 3 out of 10. Omni put 4 out of 10. Justin put 0 out of 10. That's about right. All those are about right. Olmo may have worked the ball in possession decently sometimes, but was definitely lacking in finished quality. So, how can you blame the whole match on decisions that were made? Yes, maybe the decisions, if they weren't made in that manner and that fashion, the momentum would have swung in Barcelona's favour. Yes, I understand that. There's momentum in game as well. If Barcelona got the lead, they would have opened up Sociedad like a can of beans. That's factually, I know that, because Sociedad would have to come out of their shell. They wouldn't be in this defensive shape, and they would have had to push up crazy fashion that allowed them to try and get back into the game, especially at home in the Real Arena. So this game here, Barcelona, was not a robbery. It was the reaction of the players when going 1-0 down that allowed them to get back into the game. Now, the goal itself, great. Yamal didn't cross back post. Rashford into the goal. The reaction was amazing. They were fighting. They were pushing. That's the Barcelona that you want to see on the pitch. Fighting and pushing to score at every single moment. They outplayed Real Sociedad. Don't get me wrong. They completely dominated the match. They dominated from 0 to 90 minutes. However, how many matches have you seen recently where a team dominates and the other team gives them a surprise? This was one of them. Barcelona were out of ideas. Eventually, the goal, obviously the first goal, came from a great cross from Yamal into Rashford. Lewandowski missed an absolute glancing header. Ramiro saving it. Koundé, their head onto the crossbar from Cancelo's cross. All these instances, they should have tucked them away. Lewandowski in that position as a 9 needs to be scoring that. I'm sorry. He needs to be scoring that. So the players' reactions were great in the play, in the sense of the play, how they're trying to build up the momentum in that game. But this was a shambles of epic proportions. I'm telling you this right now. They did not do enough to win that game. They may have the chances, but at the end, it's the finishing quality. So the reactions of the players weren't good enough. And let me just say this. They were out of ideas. They squandered chances because they were just getting flustered in the final third. That is running out of ideas. What can we do to pass Ramiro? They were. In the final third, they could not finish a dinner. If a team has 23 shots in a game and they only score 1 goal, whose fault is that? Don't count. That doesn't count disallowed goals, by the way. The shots on target and the shots off target do not count disallowed goals. So if a team has 23 shots in a game, what happens? They score 1 goal. Whose fault is that? Let's be brutally honest. If people can say Barcelona in the chat, then I will rest my case. It's your fault. It's Barcelona's own fault that they squandered their chances, that almost missed sitters after sitter after sitter. Pedri, one of the best, most technical players in a game of football in today's generation, probably one of the top 10 players in world football. He's in the box. Ramiro's standing in the center, and he shoots it right at Ramiro. You have top right corner, top left corner, bottom left corner, bottom right corner. And you have that amount of technique in your bloodstream, in your bones. And you miss that. You know what it reminded me of? It reminded me last minute when Carrera shot it straight at Jean Garcia in the Super Cup final. When it was right at him, not in the top left corner, on top right corner, whatever. Exactly reminded me of that. Pedri, one of the best players. This a tap-in for him. That is ridiculous. So, was it a robbery or was it just unlucky? It was unlucky to a certain extent. Because Barcelona, they had so many chances to do it. And honestly, my verdict is they were unlucky, but they were poor. Overall, in terms of the final third plays, they were poor. They consistently flooded up the wings, crossing balls into the box, flat crosses, high crosses, everything that you would wish for under the sun. They did not do enough. The crosses weren't clinical enough themselves. Yamal hit many of these crosses into defensive territory where Real Sociedad players are standing. So, like to confirm Barca's comment here in the chat. Barca fans sometimes exaggerate about referees, but this guy has controversies and arguments with us every single time. That's not coincidence. That's true. I do understand that in terms of the referee in question. And Hansi Flick, like I said at the beginning of this video, had some vocal things to say in terms about the refereeing and the poor refereeing in terms of that game. Fine. You can call it whatever it is, but you have to do your job on the pitch. I can give you a perfect example. When Real Madrid played Marseille, Real Madrid had something like 26 shots in total, 13 on target, and we won by 2 penalties. After that game, I wasn't calling it robbery or calling it whatever. I was saying that was trash from Real Madrid. It was one of the worst performances of the season because how can the team have 13, 14 shots on target and not score one from open play? That is ridiculous. It was trash from Real Madrid to play Marseille. I said it vocally, but I feel that, and I made this channel, guys, the reason I made it is to give you my complete honest verdict on Barcelona. And yesterday what I saw on the pitch was honestly shambolic from the front three. Yamal may have been the best out of them, but Fermin Lopez and also Ferran Torres, Fermin Lopez was decent enough, but when they had their chances, Ferran Torres, he should have scored that goal as well. We had the chance to do a half volley. He should have scored that as well. Yamal had a chance, literally at 45-degree angle, to shoot against Ramiro. And guess what he did? He hit it straight at Ramiro. Literally not in a full manner where the ball is moving at pace and speed and quickness. It's cushioned. It's soft. It's like a baby's touch on a football. That's what it is. Soft as anything. And this is what's happening. So, Barcelona, rightfully so, I'm telling you what right now, on the balance of things, they deserve to lose that match. If you look at it on the balance of it, they deserve, because Sociedad took their chances, Barcelona didn't. They deserve to lose it. They should have won the game, but they didn't. And that's where the questions settle in. Now, what does this mean going forward? Well, I tell you, Barcelona, and I'm not talking as a Real Madrid fan, but Real Madrid are hot on the heels of Barcelona. Hot on the heels. Because even a shambolic Real Madrid can come back into play, even if they're playing horrible. And I'm going to tell you why. just because of the individuals, they can just come out of nowhere and get a goal if they wanted to. Real Madrid scored no open play goals from Levante. They're trash. Real Madrid are beyond trash. Like, beyond the next level of trash, like down here. Yeah? And you know that. I'm vocal about it on my own channel in terms of Dave Talks Madrid. But here, I can look at it and say, look, Real Madrid at any point can come back into the game. And just speaking non-biasedly, that Real Madrid probably are going to lose against Villarreal this weekend. Probably will lose. The way they play, Villarreal will take their chances. Barcelona, to really come back into it and get that 4-point lead, they need to show the ruthless Barcelona where they don't take no prisoners and they're finishing at chances. Let me just end it on this point. This stream. If Rafinha was in this game, Barcelona would have won that game. If Rafinha was playing, Barcelona would have won that game. Let me tell you why. Because Rafinha's not missing those chances that Olmo missed, especially from the left-hand side. Rafinha's not missing that. You better be questioning him again if you think that he's going to miss in that. Impossible. Rafinha would have won the game for Barcelona. Lewandowski should have started. I'm sorry. Lewandowski should have started. Ferran Torres was just a point in the pitch. Just in the middle. That's it. Lewandowski should have started. That's what it is. Let's actually reevaluate it. Because if Lewandowski's in a position where Ferran Torres is in, he's getting chances on goal. That's factual. Yeah? So you just need to understand. And thank you for the super chat, Real, as well. And thank you for the chat, Barcelona, 184. But guys, honestly, I just wanted to round that off because I felt I had a lot of unfinished things to say in this match in regards to it. Because Barcelona, were they robbed? No. Were they poor in terms of the final third? Yes. Were they unlucky? I could say yes as well. But at the end of the day, Barcelona, they weren't killers. They weren't the guys up front that you expect Barcelona to be. And they just need to turn that around. If they really want to win La Liga, they really need to turn that around, guys. Yeah? But Real Madrid, super tough games obviously coming up. And they have to travel so many locations. As Mark says, that, yeah, Real Madrid, I don't think they'll win La Liga. So Barcelona, to really just non-biasedly just going to say this, if they really want to win La Liga, they need to do properly by how they're finishing their chances. And probably next match they're going to snap out of it. If Rafinha returns, you will see a completely different Barcelona. But guys, unbelievable. But guys, take care. Adios, yeah. That's been a live stream. I'm going to redirect this to Will, of course.